Hulk Hogan isn't promoting violence against political opponents when he asked a crowd if he should body slam Kamala Harris. He was just sampling material, or he was crowdsourcing for a good idea if the opportunity presented itself. Can I get a holla for the Old School Love podcast where first loves never die? And that first love here would be body slam shtick. Holla! We'll lump shtick and wrestling promos together as one. I mean, don't you find it hysterical? Now, like, I know that these wrestlers, like, kill themselves in the ring. All you gotta do is, like, watch one match with Abdul the Butcher to realize that uh, the lion's share of what they're doing isn't fake. The pain they're inflicting upon each other isn't fake. Outcomes are predetermined, but the damage, the variety of damage that they do to each other in between is real. Like the bullets that kill the assistant director from the fake news prop gun that Alec Baldwin used. That was real violence. You know, Hulk Hogan asking a crowd if he should body slam Kamala Harris was just freaking hardcore, hilarious body slam. Shtick. Holla! But it is beyond comical. You got people like John Cena saying not cool. You got people, alpha dogs such as Stone Cold, treating Hogan seriously, saying, he's officially lost it. He no longer has mental acuity. And I think it's Stone Cold. You're like worse than Will Ferrell when you're not in character. You're beyond boring. And in addition to that, I wanted to say stop indulging the hysterical left who's going to suddenly act like wrestling is real all of a sudden. Biden brought decency back to the White House. Stone Cold. He denied RFK Jr. Secret Service protection. The only thing more un-American than that is singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" in Farsi for Sharia law appreciation century. Can I get a holla for supposed to let it go? Holla! Thank you very much. Hunter lights up his crack pipe with JFK's eternal flame. Bengals live. Holla! I think eternal flames stay away. Ba 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 da. I mean, I don't know the name of that lead singer, but she was freaking hot. She could totally blow me standing up. And Joe Biden blows White House aides for Bitcoin. Whenever Joe poops at a hard 7, worthy white trash family. Holla! I love how uncomfortable the subject of Judas Priest makes Joe Rogan on his podcast. We'll talk about Priest with Adam Sandler on his podcast. Rogan says, they tricked us! Rob Halford blasting sin after sin. Ram it down and point of entry and ass chaps weren't dead giveaways. Joe, ultimate homophobe. Holla, thank you very much. Despite Michelle Obama's assertion that certain white men like Donald Trump are afraid of successful black men, I just fear being on the receiving end of a shakedown by Suge Knight. I'm in the pool and this husband acts like this incredulous dick and says, you did 100 laps in the pool in a row? And the wife says, yes, I did 100 laps in the pool. Stop acting like Kamala Harris just plowed through 100 interviews before Election Day. Asshole. Stop acting Like Joe Biden stayed up till 10 without pooping his pants after the double dose of time release Adderall kicked in. Supposed to let it go. Holla, thank you very much. Plow Horse Harris. Holla! Trump does not have a monopoly on funny nicknames. Plow Horse Harris. Running on Skanky. Where's that song, Weird Al? I'm sure Jackson Brown would collaborate. Every other former leftist is on the Trump train now. Holla! Trump train bound for glory. Thank you very much. I really hope that like Trump does believe that like God saved him and RFK talking about this being like a spiritual thing. Because I mean the demonic beast, the death to America Democrats have taken over and ruined the country and the world. So I pray that they are, and you got Zitfei Zook finally admitting that the government pressured Goodwill Hoodie into censoring satirical jokes about the COVID vaccine made in Wuhan that works less than Russell Westbrook running the triangle offense. Because if hospitals were so overwhelmed at the height of COVID, then why did nurses have so much time to work in their elaborate TikTok dance routines while their Chinese spying overlords pleasured themselves from afar with a bunch of tweezers made in Wuhan? Wuhan! I don't like my mother-in-law acting busy all of a sudden. She rushes off to Ukrainian church, rushes her goodbyes to her grandchildren that she had all year to like get ready to see, and their rooms still don't have doors, and their beds don't have bed frames, and Ukrainian youth hostels, offer more rugged charm these days. So I don't like my mother-in-law. So last morning there, before we head back to New York, I don't like my mother-in-law acting busy all of a sudden. She rushed off to Ukrainian church, rushes her goodbyes to her grandchildren. Wife says, but it's Ukrainian Independence Day. And I say, you would think Zelensky's Bugatti payments were riding on her Yuki bake sales this time around. RFK Jr. backing Trump is huge. He's for ending the war in the Ukraine. At this point, Zelensky in Ukrainian means he who snorted up the goodwill of his people. So, like, of course, he hooked up Sir Snort-a-Lot, that being Hunter. Of course, he hooked up him with that job with that Ukrainian energy company when he was getting paid 40 grand a week. When, Hunter just thought that he was getting paid 40 grand a week because he was working for a new sports energy company in the Ukraine that was pushing bottled borscht as the new kombucha. Supposed to give it up already? Supposed to get over it already. I think that's the theme that I'm talking about. Not a first love, but RFK Jr. supporting Trump. I've always said that, he's got the most blood in the game, knowing that he was there when his father's assassin, number one. Number two, obviously his uncle is JFK. So if anyone is blood in the game and invested just in taking out the deep state once and for all and truly sky them to the win, it's RFK Jr. So, and ages ago, there were rumors that the founder of George magazine, John, Jackie Onassis' son, had faked his death, was still alive. And I don't know if you can find it on YouTube anymore, but there's a picture of him in a rally. It looks like him, wearing like a beard. And his wife, with a very distinct look, Colin Bissett, I think her name was, and she was cheering. So I was beginning to think, oh, well, maybe like he's Q. and, but I always said, John team up with Kennedy. I meant John team up with Trump to take out the deep state would be like the best Hollywood ending ever. But, if RFK could do that with John, looking over the shoulder from afar, that much better. That much freaking better. I mean, RFK, he wrote a book on Fauci, completely exposing that evil psychopath piece of shit. I had written him a letter a long time ago. I was pitching my book, Just Red Pilled. I didn't send him a copy, but send me some postcard. But, I philosophically agree with like everything. And the thing is, it's true. I mean, Trump, him joining forces with Trump is Trump way of admitting that, he was wrong about pushing Operation Death Speed, that being Operation Warp Speed, the program that pushed the untested vaccine that's killed and made millions, teenagers dropping dead of heart attacks left and right, tennis players collapsing. So I'm feeling very optimistic about like major positive change happen and God kicking it old school and doing some divine intervention on Israel's behalf and America's behalf. Because England and France are freaking permanently screwed. Sharia law was declared and it won. So I was talking about Plow Horse Harris, and yeah, and I was talking about RFK. So like this timing could not have been better. So we could only afford like 2 days vacation. So let's go to Dewey Beach. It's like close to Rehoboth. And so first, like Biden gets forced out of the race. The weekend I'm in Delaware with my in-laws. That wasn't too long ago. And then I'm in Dewey Beach, and then the following day, we're gonna be heading back to Delaware with my in-laws. And at that point, RFK had already come out supporting Trump, while calling out the Death to America Democrats for becoming like the party of censorship, big pharma. And I'm thinking, God is great. Who cares if the most popular name in Brooklyn is Palestine these days? Palestine aligned pricks. Holla. Thank you very much. This is the old school love podcast where first loves never die. And, I really said this podcast is not going to be about me doing jokes and I was going to be doing segments, trading cards day. I'm sorry, card history appreciation day. I haven't got my kids any new baseball cards lately. Although I did get mad at my son because I said yesterday, I don't like my son knowing the names of 4 soccer players. Call me hardcore nationalistic, call me a MAGA humping extremist. I don't like my son knowing the name of 4 soccer players. All I got is Pele, Meham, Maradona. It's a lone in victory. That's it. So, Beckham, there we go. Uh, and I honestly, I've seen him. I've seen David Beckham more in like Stella commercials than in actual soccer games. But so I was having my children, I was forcing them to name like baseball players, and they weren't all on the tip of their tongue, but they eventually got there. So Hank Aaron, all-time leader in RBIs, record still holds. Babe Ruth number 2, Albert Pujols number 3. I think Aaron's like number 4. So I mean, those are just monster numbers. According to Hank Greenberg, that was the most important statistic in baseball. Runs batted in. Besides, getting to third base with Doris Day in the first date. How hot was Doris Day? I'm watching this movie with Rock Hudson. It's a funky title. I can't fucking remember it, but chicks from Ohio are hot. I mean, I went to spring break in Clearwater Beach, and this girl had great tits. Shit, this really dark tan. Like big hoop earrings. I wanted to fuck her bad. I drugged up to her a lot, and I tried, but it didn't work. She had a boyfriend. I don't know. Wasn't alpha enough. But she's from Ohio. But she had nothing on Doris Day. So, are you talking about spring break bus? Is that a first love? No. But So I ended up watching. I never saw this 30 for 30. It's on the Mets. Once upon a time in Queens, and I saw this great picture of Tyson, Gooden, and Strawberry. And Tyson, he's like fake punching Doc, and it's freaking beautiful. So they go to the China Club. The China Club was one of my first loves. I felt like a man at the China Club. I remember hooking up with a really good-looking Latina girl there. I was on Yay, awful drug, but that was still fun. And China Club was a lot of fun. Easy to get into. So I don't know why it was like a premier club for like these guys to hang out at back in the day. I guess it was like hot back then, and like then it died. I've joked before in this podcast where I've said that I want to rename our border the China Club because anybody can get in. Now, Persians feel A-list for a change. So, really losing like my inner drive to do jokes. I'm starting a new job next week. I got the job. Director of Sales, indoor football team. Danbury Night Trains, not the name. Danbury Locos, not the name. Danbury Cotton Candies, not the name. Danbury Corn Dogs could be the perennial winner. So, and like makes me think, I mean, all this time unemployed, am I doing everything in my power am I doing the comedy to feel less alone? Am I doing the comedy to prevent myself from being bored? Am I doing it to avoid a real job? But I had a really great training. I set up a bunch of meetings, my first day of cold calling, and I'm enjoying these last days of summer, with my children. And my wife just got this freaking Ford Mustang electric car. It's $800 a month. We need like a hole in the head. I've done what you got it. I said, babe, it's a declaration of war. She goes, why would you say that? I said, well, your father paid the down deposit, and he doesn't care for the movie Inglourious Bastards, and he's a Nazi apologist, and he uh, booked a stadium seating to see Apocalypto opening weekend, and he's owned Ford cars in the past, and Henry Ford had he wrote a book on International and Jew that contained ideas that helped inspire the Holocaust for starters. uh, Hitler gave him an Eagle Cross, which is the highest honor. He provided, you know, uh, materials and models for more Nazi deathmobiles. And Hitler had a life-size portrait of Ford in his office that he'd jerk off to when the sound of his own voice wasn't getting the job done after the crystal meth was wearing off for a change. So, but you could make an argument that the woman has subsidized my comedy forever. So it's time for payback. And now, is it frustrating knowing that I'm gonna have a new job and I won't have much money left over after mortgage and for her car? For me, yeah. But I'm running the Gum King and I plan on getting on stage. I really hope I don't puss out and I don't go on stage. I got so much material. I don't know, like just doing jokes to you and getting like pumped up about it. It's just not doing it for me right now. I don't know why. But I got to cut myself off from like Gateway Pun and everything. I mean, at this point, it's truly in God's hands. But I did write some great letters today, and I'm going to be selling their potential love interest in my books. I have a letter sent to Sammy Hagar, Mike Tyson, and Curtis Silva, founded the Guardian Angels. here in New York. And who am I forgetting? Sammy Hagar. Sammy Hagar's got like a new like destination, like pool bar, like restaurant called Sammy's Island at the Palms in Vegas. How cool is that? I've said it a million times before. Fuck Deadpool in tights. Ryan Reynolds take a fucking hike. I want Sammy Hagar, replacement singer Van Halen, current lead singer of Circle, Chicken Feet, rock star, red rocker, entrepreneur, extraordinaire. I want Sammy Hagar, who's 76 years old. I want Sammy Hagar as being the new permanent face of Men's Journals magazine. He makes Ryan Reynolds look like a metrosexual lesbian in comparison. So I was watching this documentary on the Mets, and it just got me excited about New York being New York again. I don't know if it could happen. Trump got out of New York for a reason. I'm listening to Curtis Silva's radio show, which I never do. Turns out Barron's going to go to NYU, and his wife that does the show with him, she's like, why? I mean, the Village was always like this dreamy place. I remember doing sets at the Comedy Cellar. I got banned from the Comedy Cellar for going around my time by like 5 hours after I got the light. But I mean, I love the Village. I got my first like Jimi Hendrix poster there. Uh, my first like this is my first great set, but Killing at the Cellar was unbelievable. So I did this joke saying I used to live in LA. I don't miss the driving, but I do miss Roadhead, especially on the Pacific Coast Highway. Because like when you're into Malibu along PCH, you see the sign that says Malibu, 27 miles of ball emptying bliss. And then for an ad lib, I point at a girl sitting in the front and I say, "Did you just call shotgun?" And the place erupted, and that was great. So I want to experience that again, but it's gonna have to be at the New York Comedy Club in Stanford for those interested in me getting off my ass and doing this. But I need to start this job first because I've had no leverage. And that's what this job is. My wife's gonna get an electric car. She's gonna get the Auschwitz accelerator. Okay, well, I'm gonna do stand up whatever I want now. So that's the beauty of this all. And if we're gonna pinpoint an old school love here, it's gonna be. I mean, is it the Mets? Like, what do the Mets represent that are special to me? The Mets represent a time when it is my age of innocence. Why is it important? Because it wasn't all doom and gloom. My parents didn't hate my fucking guts just yet. And I wasn't called a knock-knee to come eating putz just yet. And, I wasn't treated like this pariah because I refused to get the experimental clot shot. And I wasn't married to and have to fucking endure a mother-in-law that has a fucking hard-on over Azov Nazis. My kids weren't freaking. I have kids. It's a time when you have to see kids masked up like fucking Michael Jackson's adopted kids on holiday in Bahrain. Everyone loved Trump. And my parents didn't hate my guts. Because back then I didn't have an ego. I didn't have one to flex. And ever since I've developed one, they've resented it wholeheartedly. Not easy to accept. I've been sober for 7 months. Would I like a beer here and there? Yeah. But I'm like, well, wherever the beer's gotten you. I mean, got the TV writing break in Manhattan. That was great. Can recommend a writer. But I do know that beer and wine and weed and Adderall have sabotaged jobs and they've ruined them and I've gotten fired because I've gotten burnt out. So, because I can't allow it to happen this time around. I want the job to lead to bigger and brighter things. I like this guy, Tommy, who was like running the show, and Kate, my boss, and Edwin. In fact, I remember their names is a very positive sign. I'm awful with names. So, God, I want to thank you for this opportunity to develop meaningful relationships with the Danbury community. I thank you for this opportunity to determine how well my kids eat. Because in the end, if I could just provide my kids with nicer meals than like what they're used to. I mean, I cook them good meals, everything, but I'm not always gonna be around to do that. But just knowing that like my hard work and hustle and creative salesmanship is gonna pay for that, that would make this year a resounding success. And I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a complete do-it-all dad year, but we're pretty fucking damn close. And I'm 22 pages into the Come King of New York. I'm happy with the development so far. We'll see what happens with that. But Lord, just please don't. I'm not gonna sabotage the job opportunity, but I still love to write, and it gives me a lot of joy. And I don't. At the same time, I only want to write for profit now. I know that doesn't sound very artistic, but my ask, Lord, is that you don't kill my joy of creation. My ask, Lord, is that you don't kill my desire to make a name for myself as a writer. Because I got this idea for a collection of short stories I'm going to write called Dramatic Drumroll, Please. It is a collection of short stories. Here we go. There's it. Mascot, mascot origin stories. So, and I could do it for football and hockey, mascot origin stories. And I'm super pumped. I'm gonna write a shitload and I'm gonna get them published. And I don't know if I mentioned Francis Ford Coppola. That was the other guy that I reached out to. So that would, I mean, if my parents found out that Francis Ford Coppola read my book, Just Red Pilled, and shared it with John Voight, they'd officially hit me forever. But they already do. So at this point, what difference does it make? So this is the old school love podcast where first loves never die. Lord, I just want to thank you for a great summer. Uh, the kids just get more special by the day. And this lonely funny man giant is lonely no more. And I really should be a Mets fan because I'm from Queens. And can the hipsters that used to live in Brooklyn, they can't afford to live in Brooklyn, they now are forced to live in Queens. Can these neutered hipsters stop saying that Queens is so hot? It's not. Compared to Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens is the sloppy third Kardashian sister. But got Ian from Anthrax, Doug Ellen from Anthrax, myself, Trump. We got cool people from Queens, Cyndi Lauper. So the idea that just watching those Queens animals tear up the fucking grass and eat it when they won the pennant in '86, that was beautiful. I never saw that before. And you hear the bros, and yeah, that's New York in a nutshell. It's not Manhattan elites. It's part of it, but that's like the heart of the city. So, uh, thanks, Lord, for not killing my love for the heart of my city. Old School Love Podcast, where first loves never die, and I will talk to everyone soon.